Welcome back to another video. In a previous video where I played Blur for a little bit, I mentioned that I was going to do an Ask Me Anything type video. Now I used to call this series an LGS. Essentially what that is I'm going to play a video game and I'm going to go through the comment section of that video and just answer the comments. So I won't get through every single one, unfortunately, because there are far more comments than I thought there were going to be. When I used to do this, I didn't get that many views. Each of these videos were getting like 100, 200 views, and I would get maybe 9 to 15 comments, and it would be a lot of the same person leaving different comments, just for content, essentially. There has been a lot of comments on this one, so definitely not going to get through them, but the whole point of this is for you to essentially get to know me a little bit better. Maybe there's a question you want to ask and I've not got to it somehow through X or through the comment section or Instagram or whatever it may be. Now, in the background, I am going to let the gameplay run. It is going to be Medal of Honor Airborne on the Xbox 360. I sat down to play this before I went on holiday, which I'll talk about in just a second. I wanted to play about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes at a push, just to get some gameplay for this video when I came back. Ended up playing 2 hours, thoroughly enjoyed myself, and it actually encouraged me to re-download Band of Brothers on my phone to watch on the plane, which I did twice. So, I got to stop stopping because I keep going to do a cut, and obviously this isn't going to be a cut, this is just going to be one continuous thing. So, I'm going to go through some of these comments. If you want to get your comment answered in the next video, just drop it in this one. If I've not answered your comment from this video, if that makes sense, you can put it back in the comment section. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the first comment. Not gone through any of these. So the first one is going to be, do you have any theories on why your ex-colleague who now works in CEX is holding a grudge against you? So I mentioned this before. I used to work with someone in Gamestation for years, I mean like 5 years or so, and we used to be on nearly every shift together. We started the very same day, and then I left and he remained at the company, and then he left and he joined CEX, and I went into CEX not that long ago, my local one, and he was there. He doesn't work there permanently, I think he works in the Newport one or something, but he was covering, and he just refused to look at me. He would not talk to me. My theory, to be honest, I genuinely don't have one. I've got no idea. I mean, I would say I would like to find out, but in all honesty, I don't really care. I'm not really a people person, despite the fact that I do YouTube and talk to you guys. But you know, I've not really asked. If I'm honest, if he doesn't want to talk to me, that's fine. Yeah, just don't care. Moving on. This is actually from the same person. What made you want to become or decide to become a full-time YouTuber? Any chance you might make some videos about stories from your time working in the gaming store? I mean, I can do, but to be honest, I can't really think of one off the top of my head that comes to mind that's actually that interesting. I mean, I suppose it's not a story, it's just a really dodgy practice that I'm sure, I would say has been stamped out, but I don't know if it has been. So we were not forced, but heavily encouraged, shall I say, to sell extended warranties on consoles. You could get a disc protection service, I guess, if that's a thing, where you pay like I can't remember how much it was, but you paid a certain amount of money and you would then get free disc repair on that one game. Not on every game, just on the one game that you buy. No one ever bought that, but consoles, I think it was £20 for an extended warranty. It would cover accidental damage, so if you dropped your Xbox down the stairs, for example, you could bring it back in and you could get it replaced. Sounds easy, sounds simple. It wasn't. I think one person the entire time I worked there, and this thing went on for about 2.5, 3 years, and it was just enforced constantly. It was one of the most painful things ever to have to do. When someone said they wanted to buy a console, I would roll my eyes because I knew I'd have to go through the spiel of trying to sell an extended warranty, right? So yeah, it was 20 quid, and one person in the entire time I worked there actually managed to get a replacement. We didn't handle the replacements. It was an external company, a third party. So they would come in and go, my son tipped something over his DS and it's broke, so I want to get a new one, please. Yeah, that's fine. Ring this number and they'll sort you out. And then that would cause problems because they were under the impression that they could come into store and get it replaced, because that's how the spiel was worded. It was a very dodgy thing. So yeah, there's that. In terms of what made me become a full-time YouTuber, I just sort of fell into it, really. I started playing, obviously I've been playing FIFA since the very first one, loved it, saw other people doing it, saw that you can make money from it, and thought, wow, sat in front of a computer all day playing video games and then just talking about it, that sounds great. And it does sound great in practice, in theory I should say, but in practice it does get a little bit tedious sometimes. But I would 100% much rather be doing this than having to get up every morning and go work for someone else. I do not like the idea of working for someone else, and that's why I love working for myself, essentially. I'm my own boss. So if for whatever reason one day I've not made enough money, the only person I can blame is myself. And if I decide I want a day off, tough, because I don't earn enough money to have days off, apart from that one time I took a holiday. So with that being said, I did just come back from holiday, so that's why the videos have been almost non-existent, and some of the videos have been a little bit, not fillerish, but I think that's probably what's going to happen going forward, at least for a week or two as well, is the videos are going to be, we're going to look at Black Friday deals and things like that. I'm going to be looking at CEX prices because I haven't looked at any of that in, well, like 2 weeks probably. So we're going to have a look to see what's happened with CEX prices, whether they've gone up or down, see if the website's changed from the mess that they updated it to not that long ago. But then I'll start to get back into me going out and sourcing stuff, because at the moment money is non-existent. I spent it all and I have none. So what's my favourite flavour of crisps? I don't really eat crisps, if I'm honest. I do like Skips, but I wouldn't say that's my favourite flavour. I don't know, something like Flaming Hot Monster Munch or something. I don't get the thing with Doritos either. I know a lot of people like Doritos. I just don't eat crisps, if I'm honest. What's the naughtiest thing you've done for CEX credit? I couldn't possibly say and keep monetization, unfortunately. What's my opinion of the Metal Gear Solid collection versus the Metal Gear HD collection? In all honesty, I don't have an opinion on that. I don't really know the difference. I will say, and this isn't a question, but I'm going to go into it. Metal Gear, not really something I've ever really played that much. I don't think I ever played the first one. And then I've sort of dabbled in it a little bit here or there. But it's just, I don't know, it's just not something that I've ever really gotten into. I don't know, I haven't played a lot of the big games that you would have expected me to have played. You know, like God of War, for example. I've never played it. Metal Gear Solid. Never really played it. Okay, I have played Fable. I'm trying to think of some, like Halo, for example. The only Halo I've ever played is Halo 3. And I don't even know why I played that. It might have been achievements, but I played through it. To be fair, I did enjoy it, but I didn't really understand what the hell was going on, because I didn't know anything about, you know, Halo 1 and Halo 2, and I haven't played a Halo since, really. I mean, I maybe jumped in and, you know, played a little bit. Gears 1 and 2 I've played, not played the rest of them, so there's a lot of big name games that I haven't played that I will need to sit down and visit for the first time, if you will. And maybe we'll do it in this series where I actually play it live, or, you know, try and work out a way for me to be able to get the content to you that way, if you're even interested in me playing video games. Just glancing at this now, if you're watching this thinking, why are you being so dodgy when it comes to aiming? It's really difficult going from a newer game to an older game, and the sensitivity and things. But the movement in sort of the aiming is so different between this and, say, you know, Modern Warfare 2, for example. It's just, and when I say Modern Warfare 2, I mean the new Modern Warfare 2, get what I mean? It's just really, I don't know, it's just a lot different. There's no snap-on, there's no sort of auto-aim type thing, you have to do it all yourself. I really enjoyed this game, by the way. I don't think it's quite as good as Brothers in Arms, if I'm honest, but I did really enjoy playing it, and obviously, like I said, it got me wanting to watch Band of Brothers again. Really excited, actually, for the, I wouldn't say new series of Band of Brothers, because that's what the media are sort of saying that it is, but in January, Apple TV have, I think it's the original creators of Band of Brothers, are doing another series about another part of the war, if you will. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully it's done as well as Band of Brothers, because that was incredible. So let's continue. What's the most valuable game you've held and hold in your collection? That's got a few thumbs up. To be honest, the most valuable game in my collection, it might be the Heaven Dust collection on the Switch. Maybe. I think that's about 60 quid. It didn't cost me 60 quid. It was 27, I think, from Super Rare Games. That and Source of Madness, which is probably worth about 50. So, yeah, about 60 quid. I don't think I have that many expensive games in my collection at all. Looking at the Mega Drive collection, Hellfire's come down a lot in price. It was around 70, 75 at one point. I think it's now down about 55, 50-ish. So I think that's probably the most expensive Mega Drive game that I own. But yeah, I don't have that many expensive games in my collection. You know, maybe a handful of 20, 30 pound games. The rest of them are down there in sort of the 10, 15 range. In terms of that I've ever held in my hands, I mean, at the time they weren't expensive, right? But I mean, the Halo 3 collector's edition with the helmet and stuff, I did own that at one point, then sold it. But I mean, I've held that many a time because we had quite a few of those traded in. But in terms of like the most expensive games I've ever held, I mean, now they're probably really expensive. When I worked in Gamestation, I'm trading in GameCube games and stuff. Some of those, I mean, I've probably traded in Paper Mario or something, you know. But at the time, it was just a £20 game. Now, yeah, a lot of money, right? So I couldn't actually tell you off the top of my head, but in terms of my collection, don't have that many expensive ones, unfortunately. How long do you usually run for? I went on a bit of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I structured my training. So if you didn't know, I run, right? And I run a lot. I run very often. I've done 2 runs since I've come back, and I've only been back 2 days. So yesterday's run was absolutely horrific. I tried to just do about 4 miles and ended up doing 1.5 before I just had to stop. I didn't have any like breathing issues. I wasn't out of breath. I just couldn't move my legs. I was just knackered. I just stopped. I was like, Jesus. I've eaten a lot, right? I went to America, and I think I've put on about 8 pounds, which I don't know what that is in other metrics, but it's just, that's a lot of weight to be gaining in 9 days, 10 days. I ate a lot of junk, and I knew that was going to happen, right? But in terms of my running, I went on a bit of a training program before I left, not to get into shape to go away. My whole plan was to run a sub 25k, which is something that I've never done before. It's not really my discipline, although now I've turned it into my discipline. And I did it the sort of day-ish before I left. So I think I went on a Sunday and I did the run on a Friday. But I trained and I planned it all. And in fact, I don't know if you can see it now. You won't be able to. It's too low. But behind me on this, I've got like down here, I've got like stickers and things and label print things that I've put all my training on. And I worked it all out myself, and I built my own training plan, and it kind of worked to the point where I got very, very close. So my previous 5k time was 20 minutes and 53 seconds, and that was, I think, probably about 8 weeks ago now. So I did myself a 6-week training plan that took me right up until I went away. And I followed it almost to the letter. I had to change some things here or there. When you're busy one day and you're not going to be able to get that certain run in, you've got to swap it with another day. But yeah, ultimately I stuck to it. And the run I did was 20 minutes and 7 seconds. So very frustrating. The one thing that I will put it down to was that it wasn't optimal conditions. You know, it was raining, well, rather it was wet on the floor, so there's a little bit to do with it. My mentality was all over the place. I was not ready for that run, even though I'd been planning it for 6 weeks. I just was not ready for it. But yeah, and the other thing was the Sunday before the Friday, if that makes sense, I was meant to do a long run. Now, a long run for me, because I'm at 5k discipline at the moment, a long run for me is between 8 and 10 miles. And I ended up doing a half marathon PB as well. I think I did it in 1:43 or something, 1 hour 43 that is, which is not a particularly good time, but I did actually set out to do a half marathon PB. And where I live is all hills. So yeah, I'm coming down hills a lot, but I'm going up hills a lot as well. It was a really stupid idea. I had to divert my run because of rain. There was puddles everywhere and I didn't want to have to run through them, so I went a different way, ended up going a long way, ended up getting to the point where I'm like, I might as well just complete this half marathon now, because my watch kept telling me you're on for a PB. So I was like, oh, screw it, I might as well do it, I'll be fine. I think that knackered me a little bit, and I think that probably did cost me the 7 seconds, but hey, it is what it is. You didn't ask that, I told you anyway. Someone said, have a good holiday. I did have a good holiday. It was absolutely fantastic, and I will very much be trying to go back next year. Halloween Horror Nights in Universal. If you've never heard of it, you need to look it up. If you've never done it, you need to try everything you can in your power to do it. It is so much fun. I was very apprehensive before I went. Definitely more my wife's thing than mine. It was her idea to go to Halloween Horror Nights. I wanted to do Mickey's Not So Scary in Disney. We didn't end up doing that, incidentally, and I'm glad we didn't, because Halloween Horror Nights was phenomenal. Essentially, you walk through 10 haunted houses themed around certain things. So this year there was Chucky, Stranger Things, The Exorcist, The Last of Us, and then there was 6 other, not generic, they are sort of, they're tied into a story based in Universal, like the Universal monsters and things. But yeah, every house was fantastic. Incidentally, the most disappointing house I went through, I think, was Chucky. Wasn't a big fan of it, even though I love the films, love the TV shows, currently watching the 3rd season. But the house was very underwhelming. The California house looked better. But yeah, it was incredible. What an atmosphere that is. Honestly, if you ever find yourself in a position where you can do Halloween Horror Nights, you need to do it and just embrace it all. It was fantastic. So, someone says, you've mentioned in the past that you used to play Xbox games just to unlock achievements. Which game are you most proud of unlocking 100% of the achievements? I really wish I'd read this before I'd done the video, because I could have looked it up, because to be honest, I know you should have this in the back of your mind, or at least in the forefront or whatever, but I can't really think of the one that I'm most proud of. Which game are you most embarrassed by? I don't get embarrassed by much of anything, to be honest, but in terms of like the most embarrassing game, it's probably something like Hannah Montana or My Horse and Me, because those are the games I have 100%. There was Hannah Montana, for example, was a very, very easy game to 1,000 point. And like I said, I've said it in the past, I used to be able to borrow games from work, right? Because I used to work for Gamestation. You could borrow games so long as they had 2 copies secondhand in the company. You could borrow one of them. And then once one would be sold, then there would only be one left. And that would the one that I'd have, if that makes sense. I had to take it back. Not that anyone ever listened to that. But still, yeah, Hannah Montana's definitely the most embarrassing one, I guess. But in terms of the one I'm most proud of, I don't know, probably, I would say Tekken, if I'm honest. I can't remember which Tekken it was. Is it Tekken 5? Tekken 4? Tekken 5? Hang on, do I have it? Do I own that game? Tekken, there we go, there it is. That piece of trash right there. That was very, very challenging, and that was one of the ones that will stick out in my mind. I don't know if I'm most proud of it necessarily, but that was a very difficult game to 1,000 point because of all of the really awkward, annoying achievements that came with it. They were obviously online ones, but just I think the last boss, or the second to last boss, took me a day solid just doing it constantly over and over and over again. I got so annoyed. But yeah, that's probably the one that sort of stays up there in my mind anyway. Can't think of any others that I'm like super proud of. I might have to revisit that though, because there's definitely going to be one that I've forgotten. I know you revealed your name before, but what is it? That's if you don't mind revealing it again. What's your favourite PS4 game from your collection? Favourite PS4 game from my collection is probably Sifu. Amazing concept of a game. Really, really, really fun game to play. Can get a little bit stressful when you start getting a little bit too old, but if you haven't played it, very much urge you to pick it up. In terms of my name, yeah, I don't mind revealing it. It's spelt H-Y-W-E-L, which is Howell if you're English. If you're Welsh, it's Howell. So yeah, it's not a common name by any stretch of the imagination, and even people in Wales can't say it properly, so don't feel bad if you can't. If CEX was to close or go under, in your opinion, would it have a positive or negative effect on the physical gaming market in the UK? I definitely think it would have a negative effect in terms of accessibility. I think I wouldn't say a lot of collectors would give up, because that's not what collectors would do, right? They just find somewhere else to get their games. But it would make it a lot harder for people to be able to get games at discounted prices, because I know not everyone uses CEX, but if CEX went under today, say I came back off holiday and I read CEX have gone, they're just shut overnight, gone into administration, gone, I would struggle to create content But on top of that, I would struggle to get games into my collection where I live in particular. So it's the only dedicated video game store I have within 20 miles, maybe even further. So if all of the CEXs closed, not just my local one, all of them shut down. Game in Newport, which is, okay, that's not 20 miles away, but Game in Newport would be my closest one. Maybe that's, I don't know, 10, 15 miles away from me, which is not ideal. But, you know, having only that one store as an option, and there's no other small independent video game stores near me, that would really cause me problems. And, okay, I don't use them all the time for going, you know, and getting the bigger games. And yes, you can go and get newer games on Amazon and stuff, and I would probably recommend you go there anyway, because CEX massively inflate their prices for new releases. But in terms of the retro stuff and, you know, the Xbox 360 games and things, it's just really convenient to get it from CEX. And I think a lot of people feel that way. Their prices can be a little bit off here or there, but you can go into CEX with a $5 and come out with 5 quality games that will keep you entertained the entire weekend and beyond, right? You can't go into Game and do that, really, because they don't do the older stuff. You know, it's I heavily rely on CEX, and even though I do slag them off every now and again, I've not done it that much lately. I am really, really grateful that they are a thing, right? So, am I buying Football Manager 2024, and on what platform? 100% at some point. I haven't done it yet. Obviously PC. I don't know if you can play it on any other platform, and it makes sense because on console it just doesn't feel right. Mobile has got really bad reviews at the moment, but yeah, PC all the way, 100%. And in terms of what like platform on PC, like Steam or whatever, I used to buy games. I used to download FM on Steam, and then I think FM 22 I bought on Epic Games. Didn't like it. Not that it had any effect on the actual gameplay, because it doesn't, right? It's the same game, it's just the launcher. But I just I don't like the Epic Games launcher at all. So we'll definitely be getting it on Steam. Really looking forward to playing it, actually, because I've been playing FM21 a lot. Up until recently, maybe like a few weeks ago, I stopped when eAFC came out. Stopped playing FM to sort of jump on that and to do some content on that. Might talk about that later on. But yeah, definitely will be getting it for sure. It looks really good. It looks a lot of the same with a few tweaks. Really looking forward to the next year iteration of FM though, because that is going to be one of the biggest changes. I think we're having a new engine for the gameplay, so that's going to look a lot better. But I think they're introducing women into the game as well, which would be really cool. Who's my favourite wrestler? You still have Stone Cold. I mean, that era of wrestling, there is no such thing as a bad wrestler. They were all absolutely insane. But yeah, Stone Cold was definitely that glass break. Whenever you heard that, you were like, right, it is about to go down. You know something crazy is about to happen. So yeah, Stone Cold definitely. What size are your toe holders? So shoes, I think they mean. I tend to wear 10.5 these days. I was wearing 11. I don't know whether my feet have shrunk, but I just can't seem to. I don't know. They seem just a little bit too big. 10 is too small. I've got pretty wide feet. I think that's more what it is rather than length. Went on about that far too often. Would you do a career mode on FIFA? I get bored of it, if I'm honest. Like, so I was playing FIFA, eAFC. Well, I'm just going to call it FIFA, right? Because that's what it is. So I was playing FIFA yesterday, and I was trying to do my evolutions, and I had to go into an online game mode called Evo Lounge, right? And if you can hear my cat in the background, I do apologise. She wants treats, but she's already had them. So, yeah, I'm playing a game, and I beat this guy 4-0. And when I'm 4-0 up, and there's about 10 minutes left, and I'm not particularly good at the game, right? And he sends me a message while the game is still going, and he says, "Why are you so sweaty?" I've never understood that in a video game. What do you mean, why am I so... What, do you want me to play worse just to give you a chance? That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean, why am I so sweaty? And I ended up giving him like the 36 years of age answer rather than the 12-year-old, get good, bro, or something like that, right? So I said, you can't play football in this game. It is an arcade, ping pong simulator, essentially. You can't play football. And that's not what FIFA's about. You don't play FIFA to get your football fix, because you're not playing football in the game. You're abusing broken mechanics which don't really exist in real world, or at least they're exaggerated, right? If you want a real true football experience, You have to play Football Manager. When it comes to career mode, I feel that's the same way. I just don't feel like I'm playing football in the games, and there's not enough... there's not enough filler there for me. You know, in FM you get social media posts, you get the news, you get emails and all the rest of it. In FIFA you get the odd little message come through, but I just don't feel immersed in it. So no, I won't ever be doing any content on it, that's for sure. I can't even read that. Have you ever played in, what is it, Enclavement Experiment on the Xbox Live Arcade? If so, what's your opinion on it? I've just butchered that, absolutely 100%, and I do apologise, but I've got no idea what that is, so no, I have never played it. So let me know what it is and how you say it. I'm pretty sure you do this full time. Do you have a side job? Your views on the channel are good, but I doubt that YouTube give you that much income. You would be surprised how much money someone who gets the amount of views that I get makes on their channel, and it depends 100% on the content that you create as well. So when you do FIFA, for example, and you get the amount of views that I get, you earn literal pennies. You probably earn about £2 a video, which is obviously not enough to live on. But when you do different content, so for example what I do here, my CPM, which is cost per meal, I think it is, that's what it counts as, basically the amount you get paid per 1,000 views, is a lot higher. So my CPM is far higher than it was when this was a FIFA channel. And if you do finance, for example, whew, you get paid the big bucks. Finance is the best niche you could do on YouTube. In terms of like a side job, I do obviously buy and sell on the side as well, do YouTube and anything else in between, really. I mean, like, I don't have one, like if I had to fill out a form where it says occupation, I probably would put content creator, because that's my, I guess that's my sort of, you know, the thing that I've always been trying to focus on more than anything else. But I've you know, a bit of a Del Boy situation, really, you know, fingers in a lot of pies. What TVM sniffs the, okay, let's just, do I have kids after, yeah, that was a very complicated, very complicated comment to read. Apparently I sniffed something for CEX credit, but then he says, do you have kids? So no, I don't have children, and I never will. So that's the end of that one. This season's top 4. Okay, that's going to be interesting. So this person has gone for Manchester City top, Arsenal second, Liverpool third, Spurs fourth. I think you've got... I think generally that top 4 is going to be correct. Not in that order. I think Man City will probably end up winning the league. Liverpool will be second, and I think Arsenal will be third, with Spurs fourth potentially. I think Newcastle might maybe get in there ahead of them, although Villa need to be watched as well. I think when it comes to winning the league, Man City just have depth, and Liverpool do have good depth this year, which is really good for us. Spurs do not have good depth. They're proving that at the moment. They have a really big suspension and injury list. But, you know, Liverpool have had a big injury list for years, and we've always managed to compete. Last year, not so much, but we still managed to do okay by that standard, right? But I say okay. I'm not happy with last year's performance by any stretch of the imagination as a Liverpool fan, but I do feel like it wasn't that bad considering how bad it started. I think it ended relatively well. But in terms of the top 4, yeah, I think it'll go Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and either Spurs or Newcastle. I think we'll probably end up finishing 4th. Can't rule out Chelsea making... No, I'm just joking, you can. But yeah, I think you've got it more or less right. Hopefully Liverpool can just keep going on, though, and win the league. That would be phenomenal, right? I'd actually love to win the league with fans in the stadium. That would be a little bit special. Someone said, how old are you and what size shoes are you? Obviously, we've done the shoe size. I am 36. Depressing times. What period did you work in video game shop? Which one, and what's your greatest profit margin on a game and most valuable game owned? That's a lot of questions. So we've done the most valuable game thing, so because I've just not really had one, if I'm honest. The period I worked in a video game shop, I think I started working there, it was I think Halo came out 2007, Halo 3, I think. I think it came out in September 2007. That is pure memory, I may be wrong. And I started working, so November 2007, pretty sure. maybe. Worked there for 4 years. So, yeah, that was the period. Greatest profit margin on a game. Greatest profit margin on an item is probably a good few £100, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Like that monitor I got in a charity shop not that long ago. It was quite a while ago now, but it was like £20, and I think it sold for like 130. That's probably one of the biggest I've had in the series. In terms of a game, in all honesty, I can't think off the top of my head what it would be. This video is getting very long, but that's what these videos are all about. They are lengthy, right? So watch it in 2 parts if need be, or watch it in 3, or put it on double speed, even better. It might sound like a chipmunk, but you'll get through it quicker. So in terms of, yeah, the greatest profit on a video game itself, I mean, it's probably like a Mega Drive game. So is it, what game was it called? I can't remember the name of the game. Mega Drive game. Truxton. Can't remember what it was, but I bought on Vinted. It was in the series as well. Bought on Vinted, a Mega Drive bundle, and it was, I think, £35. Box Mega Drive and games, right? Truxton was one of them. I'm going to call it Truxton. Probably isn't called that. I think that's what it's called. And I think I ended up selling that game for like 60, 70 quid. And obviously it was free at that point because I already sold other games. I did get a Master System bundle from my old video game guy as well. And that was 110, 120. Sold the console boxed for that by itself. So all the games were free. And there was a good like 20 games, maybe 25 games there. And some of them were like 50, 60 quid each. And I sold the whole lot. All of it went. Not one single game, but in terms of like all of them, I mean, that's a lot of profit, right? So you could take that, I guess. How do you deal with criticism? I just don't read it, to be honest. It's just not worth my time. You know, like people on the internet, I appreciate you, right? I appreciate every single person who takes the time to watch my video. I appreciate you liking the videos, and those of you who leave comments. You're all amazing. The fact that you actually sit there and watch me do this, like, what I don't get what you get out of it, but I appreciate it. Someone who will watch 30 seconds of a video, make up their opinion about the video or about me, and then leave a comment bashing me, I don't care. Makes no difference. You know, it's someone I'm never going to meet, someone I wouldn't even want to interact with. So it's not. I know that maybe isn't criticism. A lot of it is hate. You know, like in the beginning of me transitioning from FIFA to video games, like talking about video games and collecting video games and all the rest of it, I had a lot of people who weren't happy that I was getting into the video game collecting space, and they would all jump in the comment section, say I didn't know what I was doing, and that I would never know, I would never be classed as a collector, and I just block them and get rid of them, because I do not care what someone thinks in terms of like a negative thought, right? If you're going to think like that and you're going to just call me all sorts of names and say that I don't know what I'm talking about and everything, you're not adding anything, you're not helping. If someone wants to help me and say, actually what you said here wasn't right, I think it's this, that's helping, and I can learn from that, and that's awesome. But if someone comes in and literally just calls me a slag, then what am I? No one's ever called me a slag. Everyone will now call me a slag, but that's fine. One of my top 5 games of all time. Now that is a question that is going to need to be thought about. In terms of like, it's just too difficult a question, in all honesty. Road Rash 3 would be in there. I'd have to put FIFA as a series in there. I would have to. There's no two ways about it, unfortunately. Probably would put Football Manager in there as well, if I'm honest. Command & Conquer would maybe get a shout. Theme Park maybe as well would probably go in there. I would need to put a lot of thought into it, right? Because there are a lot of games out there, like Cannon Fodder. Absolutely love Cannon Fodder. Sensible Soccer needs to be talked about. This, I don't think I could give you a definitive top 5. It would probably take me months to actually get to that point. If you were to start collecting something completely new and different to what you do currently, what would it be? Not lately, because I've actually sold a lot of them, but football shirts is something that I really, really love collecting. I sold the majority of my football shirt collection recently, not just to raise funds to go to Florida with, but I lost a lot of weight fairly recently over time, right? And I was buying XL shirts because I was very self-conscious about my weight, right? So buying XL shirts to sort of have that sort of oversized baggy look to them. And now I put an XL shirt on and it literally looks like I'm wearing a dress. So I couldn't wear them. So what's the point keeping a shirt you can't wear? So I sold them. And some larges as well were just a little bit too, not a little bit too big. They were pretty big. So I had to sell them. Now I wear mediums. So I'm having to sort of try and get those back again. Luckily, the Liverpool shirts are actually a little bit tighter than most other shirts for some reason. So I've got away with keeping the majority of my Liverpool shirts. But yeah, football shirts, definitely love collecting those. Tried to do movies, but then I got very bored of it very quickly. It's just not, I love films, right? Sit there and watch nearly anything in the horror genre and enjoy it even if it's terrible. But in terms of collecting them, I don't care enough to collect them. Like, I love them, but I don't really need them on a shelf. You know, I'm more than happy to have them on a streaming platform or a memory stick or a hard drive or something. I don't need them physical. With video games is a little bit different. You know, having a physical video game is far different to having a physical movie. Can't really think of much else in terms of collecting. Halloween Horror Night stuff is probably going to be something going forward that I want to collect because I've just gone massively into that. I actually nearly got to the end of the questions, so I think I'm probably just going to just let this run and just do the rest of the questions because I didn't think I'd get to the end of them. I think we've gone through nearly 40 at this point. So I flicked through the video and I'm still trying to figure out how the title of the video relates to the actual video. Oh, I actually very surprised. So that video, the title of the video was something like, what was it? Someone actually put the title of the video in as a comment. This retro console was only £10. So the point of me doing that, by the way, was to get people to click on the video. Oh, clickbait, yes, because that's my job. I need people to watch the video in order to earn money, in order to pay the bills, in order to do these videos, right? There was a section in that video, and he says, I flicked through. There's your problem, right? You need to watch the video. So in the video, I did talk about a retro console on Facebook Marketplace that they were selling for £10. I've gone to him before, picked up a load of Wii stuff off him ages ago. Haven't actually spoke to him since, even though he told me that he would update me anytime he got anything new. They never do. But yeah, he was selling the retro console for a tenner, and I think I probably could have sold it for about 50 quid on eBay, but I didn't have the time to go pick it up because I was packing and stuff. But I did mention it in the video. It was in the video. I don't know if I showed a picture of it because it had gone by the time I actually made the video, but I did 100% talk about it, and I kind of knew I kind of knew that was going to happen. But clickbait is just one of those things, right? It's just something that every single person on YouTube does, and if they don't do it, they're either not doing it as a full-time job, or they are so big and they get so many views they don't need to do it. So there it is. Have you ever thought of doing a limited time Road to Glory for FIFA? 2 hours a day, we miss the FIFA content. I do have a FIFA channel, which is TVMFC. If I remember, I'll put the link in the description. Should be in there permanently, but I always forget to do it. But yeah, I haven't uploaded on that channel for nearly 2 weeks because I didn't get the time to finish the video off before I went away, but I will continue to upload on there now. And I am running an account on eAFC. So I do have Evos that I've got quite a lot of Evos that are, you know, up to date and everything, and I am trying to do, you know, I'm playing the game basically, right? So I will be updating people on that. A lot of people saying, how old are you? 36. Let's not dwell on it. Honestly, I know the will isn't really your... What? The will? The Wii. I read that wrong. The Wii isn't really your cup of tea, but I'd love to see a review on Donkey Kong Jungle Beat on the new Play Control series as a whole from you, and or the comment is really low and I'm struggling to read. The new ports of Red Dead Redemption 1 on PS4 and Switch. So... in terms of reviewing video games, that Brothers in Arms video that I did, incidentally, is one of the videos that gets consistent views over time. I did one for Viking, not so much. That no one really watches that, but in terms of the Brothers in Arms video, people do actually watch it. And I have thought about doing it, and in fact, that's one of the reasons why I sat down to play Medal of Honor Airborne, because I was going to do I played Medal a Medal of Honor Airborne in 2023, and I was going to do a video on it. And to be fair, I probably still will, but I'm going to make them very, very short. They're not going to be shorts, but they are going to be 5 minutes or less. So there is every chance I will eventually do like the Red Dead ports on PS4 and stuff. Wait, hang on a minute. Red Dead 1 and or the new ports of Red Dead Redemption 1 on PS4 and Switch. In terms of playing Red Dead on Switch, I just can't imagine that's a very good experience. I didn't even know that was a thing, actually. Or did I know that was a thing? Is that something that they said there was going to be... People were like, oh, they're going to remaster Red Dead, and it actually was just a port over to the PS4. Yeah, I think that's what it is, isn't it? Because it was released on PS3 and obviously 360, and then they've just ported it over to the PS4 and the Switch, and it wasn't actually a remaster, and everyone went mad about it. I think that's what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you can hear that, by the way, the wind is mental right now, and my window is just... so anyway, in terms of doing those type of videos, if you want to see me play any specific game and do like some sort of I play blah 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 in 2023, or maybe even just a review of it, let me know. The problem with those type of videos is that you need to play the whole game. It's not like in FIFA when I used to do player reviews and you sit down, you play 5 games and you've done the player, and you can then just do an entire video based on that one player based on 5 games. You have to play the entire game, and some games, Red Dead for example, they will take a long time to finish. So it's not like I can just sit there in one evening, play the game, and then do a review the next day. This game, for example, I sat there for 2 hours, and I'm playing it very slow. I'm not running around like an idiot. Later on in this gameplay, by the way, I realised that aiming is pointless. You need to hip fire every single time, because it is... it will automatically hit the enemy when you hip fire. When you aim, you're in control, and I am awful at doing it, right? So if you've been very frustrated by watching this gameplay, do apologise, but if you want to go and play Medal of Honor Airborne, hip fire all the way. But yeah, I will do those type of videos. I just don't think I'll be doing like full reviews of new releases, because sitting there and playing a game that's going to last like 20 hours and then doing the review, it's going to take me ages to do it. I don't have 20 hours spare to just sit there and just play the game all the way through. So if you want your comment answered in the next video, drop it in the comment section of this video. Anything answered within reason. And if you want to see me play a specific game, you can also drop that in there as well. So I am running a pre-Black Friday sale on my sports almanac. So there's over 500 sports games in a spreadsheet in categories, really neatly listed for your convenience. They're actually worth money. So if you're in a car boot sale or a Facebook marketplace or pawn shop, for example, and you see a sports game, you can very quickly just look on the spreadsheet. Is it there? Yes, it is. It's worth money. There are prices next to them, and they're based on eBay/CEX and a mixture of the two. But this was made a good few months ago now, so the prices may be a little bit off. They may have gone up. They may have come down slightly. But the games are all still relevant. They're all still worth picking up if you can find them cheap. Now, I've dropped the price of this right down with that in mind, and I'll probably run this for the remainder of November. And I'll look to see what to do with it after that. But the price is heavily discounted, so if you are interested, feel free to check it out. The link for that is in the description. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you want to check out any other videos from me, I'll put one here for you to click, and until the next time, goodbye.